Discover how to clear emotional blocks to accelerate well-being and manifestation. In today's episode with Kanika Vasudeva. She's an energy and consciousness coach who helps people break free from trauma, grief, and emotional baggage. So, Kanika, please tell us, how can entrepreneurs clear emotional blocks? Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Great question. When we look at our emotional blocks, we've got to understand that emotional blocks are all stored in our bodies, and we have to really look at it holistically. So when we start looking at emotional blocks, we can't just do one modality, let's say, whatever that healing modality is. We can't just work with a mindset that, okay, I'm supposed to get over my toxic ex, so I'm not going to think about him anymore, and just deal with it that way, because there's underlying grief and feelings that are sitting in all of us. And a lot of times, as we clear that, there's also a lot of fear sitting underneath everything. So let me just talk about first the other feelings with it. We can't just do it with mindset shift, simply because there's a pattern that goes on in our head. And if we just clear the mindset, we just tell ourselves, oh, I'm not going to think about it. But have you seen that your mind just keeps still going on a loop, on a loop, on a loop? And that's pretty much because there is a pattern going on to it. To say hello to the feelings, oftentimes with me, I've found, and even with our clients, so now I sit down and take time just to say hello to the feelings that were deeper behind it. What is it that you actually felt behind the abuse or the trauma? And talking to that person. This is a part of you that wants to stay hidden. So when you start talking, and it can seem daunting at first, because you're going to say hello to your deeper feelings. But once you do that, once you've said hello, that means that you are acknowledging your grief. And that's that. It just needs acknowledgement. When we say that all the emotions or the energy needs to flow, it's literally that. It just needs to be seen, needs to be heard, that, okay, I felt that way. Now, you might have been, if I'm continuing on the example of the toxic ex, you might have been told that, hey, what you're saying is not okay. You need to shut your feelings down and so on. But what we often tend to do is that we internalize that as well. So internally we think, okay, I'm not supposed to speak up, which is okay. Don't go out and speak to someone else. Speak to yourself. Tell yourself, this is what I heard. You can do some inner parts work or inner child work, and you can just say, this is what I felt at the time. You can write a letter if that calls out to you, and you have to take ownership. You have to talk to your inner child, and you have to go, okay, I did not know this then, but I'm going to look after myself now. Whatever abuse, whatever trauma, whatever pains happened, but you just talk to yourself, because when you do that, then your inner part becomes more confident that they can be open. What I mean by that is, there's a client who came to me and she said, oh, I'm going out and I'm wanting to attract love. That's really not happening. Nobody's even looking at me and so on. What was happening underneath was that she had a really toxic relationship in the background. She'd gotten over it. She'd separated. But her inner part was still scared. So it was still like, okay, I'll go out. I'll meet another man. I'll be treated the same way. And it's not going to be good. So you know what? Let's not even call a man into our lives. So what you have to do is, when we looked at her inner child, when she could say hello and when she could say, okay, I'm going to look after myself. I'm not going to let this happen to me again. Then your body becomes ready. Then you can start manifesting. That is when you've actually cleared your emotional block. You start feeling happy from the inside. So that's the first shift that happens, because your body is now getting ready for a new change. And when you allow that to totally clear, then you clear that space. And within weeks, she had other people just messaging her, reaching out to her while she was grocery shopping. and saying, hey, do you want to go out on a date or not? And she was not even getting messages when she was reaching out to people on dating platforms. All it needed was clearing the emotional inside to really start manifesting.
Thank you. How would you clear, for example, the emotional block of disappointment, betrayal, and anger, kind of related to both?
And great question. Life is a very good mirror of whatever is going with us. So you talked about disappointment, you talked about anger. When we feel somebody's getting angry at us, or when someone is getting disappointed, or we are getting disappointed, it will not happen unless there's something matching with you inside. I'm not saying you are flawed. I'm not saying that this is what you are thinking, but I'm just saying that there's some programming, there is some conditioning, there's some mindset, there's something that's running inside you that's calling that. And the reason why this happens is because our soul really wants us to continue evolving. Till the time we've learned a lesson, we've crossed over the bridge, it sort of brings that to us. Now, you could think of it that like, why? Till we've not cleared it inside, we'll keep seeing it outside, because that is our way of evolving. So whatever you're seeing in another person, if you're getting triggered, let's say you're getting triggered by someone's anger, or you are getting angry at a particular situation, sit down and call that out. I'll give you an example. Now, I'm obviously posting on Instagram like a lot of other people, and there's some times where I get some messages that you feel like, hey, why do you have to say that? And initially it's to get triggered, and social medias or even our life is a very good way of finding out our triggers. And then I was like, okay, but I am getting triggered. So it means there's something in me. So let's look at that part inside. And often when you ask the question, why are you angry? Or why is someone getting angry at you? Is there a pattern? Was someone getting angry before? Is someone disappointed now? Was previous people disappointed with you as well? And keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. Trace it as far back as you can. A lot of times we talk about inner child work. So what happened in your childhood? There could also be a lot of things in your teenage part, like your inner teenager. What happened then? Did you have feelings of shame then? Did someone get angry with you then that you sort of adopted? So talk to that part, do a therapy session with yourself, and just go, hey, I'm not going to let that happen again. And now we're making a change. And all you really need to do is bring your sovereignty back to you. Just declare that, hey, this is not happening. I'm going to look after myself. When you start talking to your body and just energetically resetting it, then things start to shift. And then you'll notice a difference in the outside world as well. When I've done that, maybe two things happen now with me with social media messages. I'll get the same messages. I don't get triggered at all. Like it just does not bother me. Or the messages only stop. Like they reduce in a certain way, which is win-win.
Thank you. So how do you do this energetic reset? So imagine, for example, for me, I have this trauma of disappointment that comes from, let's say, clients disappointing me in terms of, not you can say acting in a way that I thought was, let's say, normal, or scamming, or doing things behind my back, or doing deals that are not agreed, or and that leading to disappointment and betrayal of my trust. And then being angry about that, for example. Okay, so how would you clear that? How would you do like this energetic reset? And I can actually point it back to what happened in the past, where let's say my grandma used to put me in a corner, and she used to beat me from 4 years old until about 18, and she used to say that you're stupid, ugly, and fat. And I think that the relationships with clients occasionally sort of mirrored that, in the sense that I felt put in a corner and not appreciated, and also felt like almost like not worthy of being treated, in a kind way. So I think that I felt almost like, put in the corner. I would say that is the most accurate representation.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for being vulnerable. Thanks for sharing your story because it takes a lot out to say that. The way to do that would be to go back, just sit in your meditation, look at the part of you that's most upset, and you would want to see what is the age, what is that age where you're sitting, and what is the trauma that's most sitting on the surface. Now, in the beginning, you might realize, you might see yourself at 4, you might see yourself at 13, 18, whatever was the formative, whatever was the beginning one. And as you do this work, once you've healed one part, there would be other parts. But often, as you look at that part of yourself, and that part would still be feeling ashamed because there was a lot of your agency was taken away and you felt pretty powerless. So you're saying hello to that part, and then that part might not really be ready. It might be like, hey, this is just going to happen again, and so on. It's your adult part now talking to your younger part, and just see whatever are the feelings coming up from your inner child, from your inner part, and then you address those almost as if you would address a little child. Now, sometimes your inner part might not be ready. It just might not be ready to move on. And I find that the golden trick to just making it all work is showing them the future. It's just, even if you don't understand what your future is, it's just pointing them out and showing them that, hey, look, this is my future. This is the future that we are creating. In this future, this is not going to happen again. We're not allowing that. So I am giving you freedom. To start with, wherever you felt ashamed, wherever you felt worthless, we can wait for other people to give it to us, consciously or unconsciously. But start by telling that to yourself, and specifically to that inner child part of you. Start by saying that, hey, I love you and I think you are worthy. I think you are enough. And bring that again more and more. There's some statements that I'm saying right now. When you are sitting with yourself, there might be other statements, and you can ask yourself, hey, what is the most empowering belief for me right now? Because that can evolve as well. But take something that your body is ready with. For something as deep as this, you might need a little bit more sessions. But even with the very first session, you'll start noticing a shift. And it shouldn't take you, especially because you've identified it. That's the beauty of it. Once you've identified the part that is traumatic, it's almost like knowing, okay, my house is unclean here. Right, half the job is done, because then you know what tools to get out and how to clear it. If you've got it consciously in your head, know that you are ready to let go of that belief. So once you start looking at it, my clients will notice a difference even within the first or second meditation itself. Like, it just goes away. And the great thing is that it goes away for good, because when you say hello to that inner part, when you say hello to those feelings, when you clear the mental blocks around it, we're working on 4 bodies: your physical body, where is the pain living in your space, your emotional body, your feelings, the mental space, so we're talking to your logical mind, very logically, giving it reasons why it should not happen again. And then we're talking in the energetic space, clearing the patterns. Like, it just goes away for good. Even when you do these exercises, it will go away for good. You might just need to repeat it again a little bit, but not too much.
Thank you. How can someone stop the loop of new emotional blocks being created? That could be potentially like a mirror of what happened in the past. Because let's say, for example, in my case, I have, powerlessness, helplessness, feeling unloved, feeling unwanted, feeling like a betrayal of trust, a betrayal of what I believe a parent or like a grandparent should do, shame, abuse. Like, there's so many different like negative emotions that can create like a loop, and also like a magnifier of the potential trauma. And so how do you kind of get rid of that full loop? Is it just to follow what you already said, or is there anything else that is missing to stop creating new loops of failures and obstacles and falling into the same problems?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And there is a little bit more to it, because when we did the inner parts work, the inner child work, or the inner teenager work, that is a lot saying hello to the emotional space, or to the logical part of us. And maybe sometimes even the physical part, but then there is an energetic pattern, like you talked about betrayal, abandonment. I have the same one, and I think a lot of us actually carry that, because even the first time when we came from source, we all split up from source. So we carry a separation, we carry a betrayal right from that point. I've looked at my past lives and I know that I've been abandoned, I've been orphaned. I used to think it was only this lifetime. When you start clearing, you realize it's a lot beyond that as well. How do you clear the whole loop? Is there energetic loops around us? So if you think of energy, energy is what we receive, and energy is what we all let go of. Like we're all just, we do not always physically see it, but we have an energetic body. You know, when science looks at our heart center, for example, they know that the heart has so many neurons. We have a very strong electromagnetic field, but we all have an electromagnetic field where we are getting energy, getting out energy. Like someone might feel really good when they're standing in the sun because they're getting energy. And you might feel sometimes really heavy with someone because you feel like they drain your energy. Reality is you have cords, you have energetic ties with them, and that's why you feel that. So first of all, you're pretty spot on when you say that we have loops that go around and around, because typically the negative loops, they're wired. We have connections like that, and there are light entities, there are also dark entities, and they're darker entities which want to feed off the energy, which want to feed off your energy, where if you are stuck in pain, you know, it gives them a little bit power. That's why you'll think that, oh, I don't want to think about my ex, but there's just a loop that's running and running. So the way to clear that would be to sit in a meditative space. Unfortunately, I'll just need to guide it a little bit more rather than just giving one technique here, just because it has to be in a little bit more safe container where I can monitor things and where I can see how things are going on. But I do free energy healing sessions where I introduce people to these concepts, and anyone is welcome to join them. That is at artoflifecenter.com/live. You're more than welcome to come to it, because even one session will give you good guidance on how to really start balancing your energy. That's the first thing that we have to do. And then we move on to energy loops. It just has to be done a little bit more safely than going, okay, go out and do it this way.
Thank you. What is the best way to create new positive loops that lead to success, manifestation, well-being, overall health?
Yeah, beautiful. So that you can definitely do even without the live sessions. And what you could do is, when you're sitting down and talking to your inner child, your inner part, you ask them, hey, what is it that you want to do? Or you ask the guidance then that, hey, what was it? What is my new empowering belief? And you'll notice that they would be a little bit different. Like sometimes it could be off the mill affirmations like I'm enough. Sometimes it could be something different. And that is it. You could also ask during that time, what is it that serves me? What are my next baby steps? Let's say you want to get out of betrayal or disappointment. You can say, hey, what is it that I should do so that I start feeling more empowered myself? And just listen to that guidance and follow those little baby steps. You can give direction that, oh, I don't like it to be too much. Like, you know, don't give me something like I'm supposed to get out of this relationship, but I'm not ready yet. So don't give me that. I'm not ready. But give me something small. And let that small thing come to you. Just sit with it for a little while till it comes, and just allow that to come.
Thank you. For a long time, I believed that the world is scary, and to some extent, I still do. What's a good way to clear the emotional block so that I can start seeing more of the, beauty of the world and stop preventing that belief from limiting what I'm actually doing?
So look at all your 4 parts. Maybe the energetic part we'll stop for now. But look at your physical body. We've talked a lot around the emotional body. We've talked a lot around the emotional feelings and thoughts that you might have. So saying hello to that with the inner parts work. Talk to your logical mind that, okay, the world's not scarce. And you have to give yourself examples of you. How was it not scarce? Like, what are you still creating? Because there's a lot of creation that you are doing. There's a lot of great work that you are doing. And you can give yourself examples of people around as well. Like, for example, a lot of us would have this common belief that it's very hard to make money, that you need to struggle to make money, right? Very, very common. And all you need to do, even if you haven't made money, look at other people. Just one example. And there's tons out there on Instagram, people who are posting with a nice, good lifestyle and going like, this is what I'm doing. But all you need to do is just find one person and one trait that you like about them. You might not like the whole person. That's okay. Just one person, one trait, and go, okay, this person can do that. So can I. Because they're living in the same world. If they're living in the same world, they're running some different energy. You can do that as well. That's the
So my question was about my belief was that the world is scary, not that the world is scarce. But I imagine that it would be similar in terms of like me imagining one instance where, let's say, I went to an event and the world wasn't scary. So kind of like keep finding those moments of safety everywhere, so as to prove to myself that actually the world is not that scary. Is that kind of like
yes.
that? Right?
Absolutely. And then for you, especially where you feel that, oh, someone had, or you would feel scared, whatever situations you would feel scared, find other people who would do that. Maybe watch some movies that give you that same thing, just to really bring it to your home and do it till you can really feel that resonating in your body. Your body will really tell you whether it's feeling okay or not if you tune into it, whether it's really sticks into you. Like, if, for example, your name's Lily, there's no resistance to it. You just feel like absolutely neutral. You just know it to be true. It has to be true that same way that you are not feeling scared. And find out, maybe even go a step further than that. Like even things where you feel that, oh, it is actually really, really scary. Find out examples where women, or however you relate with, whether do you feel scared in your business? Do you feel scared as a woman? What is it?
I think I'm scared of people. Like, I feel that maybe, like in general, maybe if I'm in a relationship, men will betray me. Although I'm in a relationship now and he's not betraying me, but in general, I feel like men tend to do that. Okay, and in business, I feel that maybe people may betray me in the sense of like overusing or trying to take advantage, or double crossing or scamming, or that kind of thing. And it's not that I believe this is the case in every case. No, in some limited rare scenarios they do, and that's enough of a proof for me to be scared.
Correct. And notice your language there. So that's what your body is resonating with right now. You talked about your relationship and you said he's not betraying me right now. So that's where your body is feeling right now, but doesn't mean that that is the statement. It doesn't mean this is the statement that's going to be as well. So look at relationships around you where men are not betraying, where men are really good examples. And I totally understand it because I got out of a very toxic relationship a long time ago. And all I would say was that, okay, this was really, really toxic. There was a pattern of previous toxic relationships as well. I think that's why I had to manifest it at a much bigger, grander scale till I could really remove that from me totally. But I was just asking the universe to show me examples, show me real life examples of men who are good. And I worked in a company with really amazing men who wanted to be great parents, men who were great husbands, men who were really looking after their wives. I had a boss who was really caring for the whole team and so on. And I'd asked the universe that I want to be surrounded with men like that. So even if it's not your own relationship, because it just starts giving you the feeling that, oh, the world's like that, like these good men exist, and just ask for it. It's amazing what happens when you ask. It's amazing what happens when you just keep the faith. And I know this is like a cliched term. We all say, hey, like just have the belief and so on. But just try. There's no harm. Just say that these are the men that I want to see more and more of. And give yourself examples of men that you do know who are really good. Like I would always tell myself, I have a son. I have a brother. I know some other great friends of mine. You do know, even right now, not all the men around you are bad. Not all the men are betraying. Like find out some great people around you, examples, whether in the media or whether you know them personally, but look at them and go like, if these women can have these men, so can I. I can have a man who is looking after me, who's loving me, and so on. And, I manifested with those thoughts. I manifested a guy, or my partner now. He's just absolutely amazing, beyond my dreams, beyond my wildest dreams, in the sense of safety, in the sense of doing for me, in the sense of looking after me, like whatever I need, I just know that if I want anything, he'll just drop everything at his end and come and help me out with whatever, as an example. But we often tend to think of the world as sort of an outside thing. And it is, but also understand that the world is just mirroring back to you what's happening. So if things keep happening again and again, and if, let's say, yet again, another betrayal happens, the common person between all of that is you. So there's something that's going on in this space that needs to be cleaned. And so just take a moment and just have this declaration that, I'm going to clear this. I'm going to clear this. And universe, help me out. And work with that for a little bit till that thing is cleared out, till you have more agency in your space, more sovereignty in your space. It does not repeat. But give yourself that break. We sometimes fast from foods. We do other sorts of fasts. I would like to encourage maybe an energetic fast or a toxicity fast, whatever that toxicity is in your life. If you feel like this is happening, just say, I'm not going to do this. And tell yourself that if you are noticing any signs of that, like if you're noticing that, hey, here a pattern is being repeated, before that happens, or when you're feeling that, tell yourself that you're going to take some action and follow through that. I did a year of no, for example, when I was first starting out with this work. And that was really, really helpful, because often a lot of times we still do the things where our heart is not saying yes, but your body, your heart is always telling you. So I took a year of no, which was essentially like, if my body says no, if I'm hearing a no within, I'm going to act like a no outside.
Thank you.
And that was super powerful.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
Oh, yeah. So everyone can reach me on Instagram at Kanika Energy Coach. I'm the same handle across all the other social media channels as well, like LinkedIn and so on. And I'd love for people to just reach out, ask any questions. Then you can find me on my website at artoflifecenter.com. That is CENTER, artoflifecenter.com. And if you type in artoflifecenter.com/live, then you will get to a page that invites you to my free energy healing session, because I'm really passionate about sharing all this work, about really teaching people all these energetic shifts. Like we talked a lot around emotional shifts and mental shifts. But there's an energetic space that I would like to give people very simple tools on how you can really make positive shifts in your life. You're welcome to check that out.
Thank you. Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health change makers to live your healthiest life ever.